Hi, everybody, and welcome to this brief chat about facilitation and specifically about embodied facilitation. I am super excited to be sitting here today with Claire Rumore, who's an intimacy coach and a sexual educator and a senior faculty member at Shakti Shiva Academy. She's also been on my podcast, Sacred Feminine Power, but that was like almost 6 years ago. We were just laughing about that with Claire before we started recording. And she's just an amazing human being with beautiful stories to share. And the fact that she's with the Shakti Shiva Academy, of course, is an added bonus. This is a wonderful academy that I have a lot of respect for. And they are currently launching a wonderful facilitation course, a year-long facilitation course. And Claire and I are going to be chatting about that course a little bit. And Claire, I would love for us to jump straight in if that's okay for you.
Mhm.
Perfect. So, Claire, would you share a little bit about what is embodied facilitation? Why is that different from other facilitation styles and programs?
For sure. So first, it would help us to define what is facilitation. What are we meaning by that? And the definition that we use in our program at Shakti Shiva Academy is that facilitation, the root word being the Latin word facile, or to make easy. So facilitation in general is our contribution to other people to support making a process or making a learning easier for them. We're guiding them on a learning journey, if you will, a lot of times. And so, where embodied facilitation comes in is that a lot of times with general facilitation, people might be coming just from the head. They might just be dispensing facts and figures and information. And that's great, especially because often we're in that event to learn. However, at Shakti Shiva Academy, we feel so strongly that it's important we bring our bodies with us. And with embodied facilitation, that can look and feel and be a number of different ways. So, the first thing for a facilitator with embodied facilitation is how do you stay present when you are needing to track the time, the temperature? How are people receiving what you're sharing? Is there a tech issue happening? When's the lunch break? Are people getting antsy? There's a million and one, even if you're online, even if you're online, there are a million and one different things that you're having to track as the guide and guardian of a facilitated space. So, how do you do that? And stay present when you're tracking the past. What have I already said? Tracking the future. Where am I taking them? And then the present. Where am I now? And where are my participants now? And so staying in the present moment. And one of the fastest ways to make contact with the present moment, returning to it, is the body. The body. So that can be the senses. That can be, I like to use back body awareness, just sort of leaning, not all the way back passively, but just leaning back in a way where I'm very aware of my spine. And is my spine as straight as it can be? Because then that's helping my nervous system be calm. So when I'm talking about, when I'm saying bringing the body with us, that also very much includes the nervous system and staying calm in our nervous system.
Yeah, I love that. And you're bringing up such an important point around the nervous system because if you are facilitating, or as you said, being the guide and guardian of a
Mm.
container, if you are yourself feeling nervous or something stressful happened to you earlier in the day, or you've just had a fight with your partner or something like that, something that
Mhm.
life just throws at you, it
Mhm.
is so important to still be able to be embodied in your body and be regulated in that moment. Does this program also help us with that?
Absolutely. That's a big focus. One of the small ways we do that is we start each class with a type of embodiment, a type of somatic practice that is specifically designed to help with emotional and physical regulation, so nervous system regulation. And that can be as simple as touching pressure points on tips of fingers and then pulling different fingers, massaging different fingers because there's different meridian lines attached to them. So that's helping us be more present. And you can do that very discreetly. If you're on Zoom, you can do that. Nobody notices, or the front of the room, nobody can really see if you're squeezing your thumb, things like that. There's also different, little bit more, a little bit larger practices that one can do before the session starts or at the break or after. So we're helping you create a toolbox of these tools and skills that you can call upon in the moment. And so I like to weave those in. And we're also looking forward to utilizing one of the modalities at Shakti Shiva Academy that you're learning and more familiar with, Emmy, which is bliss dance. So I'm soon going to be a bliss dance facilitator. I'm finishing up my certification at Shakti Shiva Academy, actually. That's the only program that I never finished at Shakti Shiva, and the only one I've never taught. And so pretty soon I'm going to be weaving in little bitty bliss dance segments for our class so that we really can be in the body and learning how to track our emotions, move emotional energy through the body, and then be more contained in that way, contained and regulated, as opposed to a lot of times we squish down emotions because the show must go on. We've got to perform and not flinch. And sure, that's all well and good, but that's not actually helpful and it's not actually embodied because
Mm.
we're rigid and we're disassociating or moving things out of the way that are actually here. So we're really keen on how can we grow capacity on being with what's here.
I love that. And I love the fact that you're weaving in bliss dance as well. It's such a potent, beautiful way of becoming more embodied and also letting go of stuff that no longer serves you and really being grounded and anchored in that moment when you are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's a great segue to another part of the program, and we start kind of right away with teaching this level of discernment, which is as a facilitator, what is your responsibility and what is not your responsibility? Because a lot of us who are in facilitation, we're high achievers. We are perfectionists, we have big hearts and we care. So a lot of times we're taking on a lot of things that actually aren't our responsibility because we're coming from a genuine place, which is we want our participants to be happy. We want them to have a great experience. We want them to have great value. Uh, but at the end of the day, we have no control over that. And so learning how to discern what is my responsibility and what is not as a facilitator, and then letting the rest go.
Okay, so that's really beautiful. And what came through to me as you were talking there is also the theme of vulnerability. Because as much as we are the experts and the space holders in a facilitation context, we are also human beings. And and sometimes we come to the spaces we hold with a whole lot of emotions as well. What is your take on us as facilitators being vulnerable in those spaces and being able to express that vulnerability as well?
Absolutely. So vulnerability is an amazing and important part of being human. And being human is part and parcel of being a facilitator. Like we're bringing our humanity with us, period, full stop. And so embodied facilitators are ones who recognize that, who are comfortable with that. They're comfortable with that on occasion, there's going to be vulnerability in their person, in the space they're creating, and that leads to opportunities for authenticity. So we're teaching our facilitators how to name what they're experiencing if it's relevant for the group, how to name what's happening in the room, because that can help regulate the group's nervous system if there's something disruptive or overwhelming happening in the space. If we as facilitators, as the leaders and guides, are just ignoring it and other people are well aware of it, then that can cause a lot of tension and friction in the space. And so it's important facilitators know how to name vulnerably what's happening for them, what's happening for the group, and creating space for group members to also bring their vulnerability. And then another piece I like to share about the vulnerable side of being a facilitator is that it is absolutely inevitable that facilitators are going to make mistakes. They're
Mm,
going to inadvertently cause harm. They're going to not get it right. And so, what we teach in this program is that's going to happen. That's absolutely natural and to be expected. Now, how do you do the repair when that happens? So, we teach the difference between what is an oops, like, wow, that this happened, but thankfully it was a smaller infraction. The harm done was smaller. It's easier to repair. And then, how do you repair that? And then, the ouch, which is a much bigger incident, something that has a lot more impact and has bigger harm or bigger ripples of pain for a participant, let's say. So, how do you repair that? And it's important, again, for in the name of being as potent and responsible of facilitators as we can be, to have the skill of vulnerability and to have the skill of repair when there's been an oops or an ouch in the space.
I love that. Yeah, that really speaks to the authenticity that you mentioned earlier as well. And it's gonna prepare one not just for those facilitation experiences, but for life overall.
Mhm. Exactly. And I'm glad you said that because this is how I approach facilitation. I say very often that facilitation skills are actually life skills. Because when we hear the word facilitator, we can think, oh, the person at the front of the room, the person who's giving the TED talk, the person who's the panelist or the conference workshop speaker or the retreat leader or whatever it is. But that's only one form of facilitator. And it's the truth is we're facilitating experiences all the time. You're facilitating me right in this moment. We facilitate with our partners and children. We facilitate with our clients, even if we're one-on-one practitioners. There's facilitation happening, even in conversations that might happen in the line at the grocery store. There's facilitation happening when we're assisting someone or helping shift a mood for someone. There's a lot of facilitation happening all the time. So I say facilitation skills are life skills, period.
Mm, absolutely. I love that as well. Well, Claire, would you share a little bit about the logistics of this program? When do we start? I say we because I'm also going to be part of it, and I'm super excited about
Mhm.
that. So when do we start, and what can we expect as participants?
Absolutely. So the classes start in mid-May. They're going to be on Tuesdays. So roughly the second and fourth Tuesdays of every month. Uh, but we're going to be organizing the program into trimesters. So there'll be a chunk of 3 months. So May, June, July. We take August off. And then we start back September, October, November. We take December off for break. And then January, February, March. So we have 3 trimesters of 3 months. There's 2 classes that are about 90 minutes to 2 hours per month. When we say 90 minutes to 2 hours, because the class itself is 90 minutes, and whoever needs to leave after that can certainly go. And then we often stay on for another 15, 20, 30 minutes for further discussion for those who want to go deeper. So it ends up being a 2 hour slot twice a month. And then every trimester, we have a study hall. So that's a time to come together, ask more questions. If you need to catch up on your homework, there's that opportunity. And so that's a shared communal experience. That one's optional. And then we also have an enormous number of master classes or additional bonus resources. I think we have 7 for this cohort. Normally we only have 3, so 1 per trimester. We're feeling generous this time. So we have 7 happening and all amazing, amazing facilitators in their own right. One is a speaking and confidence coach. One facilitator does a lot of social justice and how to create diversity in your space, but also how to navigate when there are so many points of intersectionality. So we're actually having 2 sessions with that facilitator. We're having a bonus session with a to professional mediators. So again, this repair process, if you really need deep repair, how do you mediate that? How or do you call in other people to support? So they're going to be speaking with us, and we're going to be talking about business and marketing sides of facilitation also. So the bonus master classes are phenomenal and a very a tremendous value. So that's happening. And then there is also an optional yet very rich retreat coming up April 2027 in South Africa at the Bodikaya Retreat Center, which is a gorgeous, gorgeous retreat center. So that's an opportunity for us to come together in person and really bring to life the skills that we learn on the course and do that together in a supportive way, because the 9 months spread out over 12 months, 9 modules, nine months of classes spread out over 12 months is all virtual. So those will be online classes. Yeah. So to have this in-person component is really special. And then the classes themselves will always start, all of our events will always start at 7 o'clock in the evening, South Africa time. And then for those in the United States or Europe where time zones adjust, we'll do our best to support a smooth transition to time zones during that time of the year. But 7 o'clock South Africa in the evening on Tuesdays, second and fourth Tuesday, I believe. And all the information is on the course landing page.
Perfect. I will share the link to that course landing page, of course, as well. And wow, this sounds absolutely amazing. I mean, I've done plenty of trainings with Shakti Shiva Academy, and every single one of them is exceptional. And I have high expectations for the facilitation training as well. And no doubt those expectations will be filled. So thank you, Claire, for your time today. Thank you for sharing more about the training with us. And yeah, thank you for your enthusiasm and all that you bring into the world. Very, very much appreciated.
Oh, you're welcome, Emmy. It's always a pleasure to talk with you. And it's facilitation. We need more incredibly skilled and heart-centered, body-loving facilitators on this planet. So we look forward to everyone joining us who feels called to this work.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.